Hey everyone, good morning. It's obscenely early. Welcome back to my channel, Talking Sense. Gonna go for another bit of box of magic today because I don't have work. I'm gonna be basically pretty relaxed day today. I'm just sitting around writing at home. So yeah, I figure time to break out the box of magic again because I've got loads to get through. So I've still got loads of decants over there that I really want to, that I bought over Christmas that I want to review. And I've got obviously all my normal bottles that I want to review. So let's crack on with the box of magic. So what are we going to put out today? So last time, if anyone didn't watch the last one, I've got this box, it's full of samples. I've never smelt any of them. So I just open them and I'm going to pull one out at random completely and give you my first impressions. Then I'll wear it for the day and kind of come back and it's not like a full-on review, but it's my kind of longer impression on the entire kind of wear of the fragrance. I mean, some fragrances, you know, they take a few wears to really get what you're getting. Right, what am I going to pull out? Okay, I've got something. That was a decant, so I put it back because I've smelt all the decants. Right, what we got? Oh, we got a floral streak. I've done that. I've done a whole first impressions video on floral streak. So I forgot the floral streak ones are still in it. I should probably take them out. What's that? Okay, that's another one that I've done. That was the decant I got for my Ganache Parfum. Oh, okay, so this is a new one. This is something that I've never smelled. Quite excited about this one. Because I've never smelled it, but okay, let's just go. Right, so we've got Terre hermes Eau Intense Vetiver. So I love Terre hermes. The original I absolutely love. I've never smelled any of the flankers. I haven't smelled Eau Fresh and I haven't smelled Eau Intense Vetiver. I tell you what will go quite well with this is if I wear Intense Vetiver on one and perhaps the original on the other, because I've got the original. I've got a vintage of the original. I say vintage, I got it when it came out. Yeah, let's do that. Okay, so I'm going to be stinking the place out with hermes today. So, but that's all right. That's no bad thing. I bloody love John Crawley. Right, so we'll go Eau Intense Vetiver on this wrist, and I'll wear the regular. This is just the EDT, Terre hermes EDT. I'll wear that on this wrist. I absolutely love it. I mean, I rarely get that deep into a bottle, to be honest, unless I don't really love something. I'm getting a little bit bored of it these days because I've been wearing it a lot for 10 years or something, but you know, still love it, still got a place in my heart for it. But yeah, I say I like Vetiver and I like Terre hermes, so the opening's different. Okay, wow, I really like that opening. The orange is not as bitter in this one as the original. The orange is a bit more something that I'd want to eat rather than throw in the bin. Still got that slight rotten smell that the original Terre hermes has, but it feels more fruity. But then that might be because this is quite old now, and the opening of this is very alcohol-y, where it's just been sort of sitting around a lot, so it has to flush that off. But this is really good. So basically, you've got that kind of orange from this one, but it's not quite as rotten. It smells a bit more tasty, I guess. It's a bit more fruity, a bit more juicy is probably a good word for it. It's more of a juicy orange mixed with just a really soft vetiver. But the vetiver's very soft. It's not soft as it is. It's big up there. It's definitely forefront, but it's very soft vetiver. It's not like a spiky, sharp, harsh vetiver that you get sometimes. you know, I've definitely got some Vetiver fragrances over there, which are sort of like, you know, you spray them and the Vetiver almost burns your face off. This is much softer, it's much warmer. So I'll spray the original, but I mean, I would if I face the sprayer the right way. Yeah, so this one, I mean, it's a bit more alcoholic, it's a lot older. This bottle is, this is from 2009, I think. So it's pretty old. But once it starts flashing off that kind of alcohol smell, which is now, yeah, it's much more bitter orange, a lot less fruity. And it's much not skanky, like as in like animalic kind of skanky. It's dirtier and earthier, whereas this smells more like something you would want to wear in the summer almost. See, I always associate Terre hermes with like a winter and sort of fall sort of wear. I mean, I wear it. I think it's fall season. I think you can really get away with it any time of year. But I tend to associate it more with that kind of autumn fragrance. But this one, the Intense Vetiver, I feel like it suits the summer a lot better, because that orange from the original is not quite as savage. It's not quite as rotten as the original. Say the original one I've spoken about before, and I think probably a lot of people have smelt it, but it's really like a dirty orange, like dirty earthy orange, and it's great. I love it. In fact, I think it's one of my favourite parts. But this one, the orange is more fruity. So in the summer maybe it would be a bit more kind of perky. That's my first feelings, is that in the summer this would work really well. I'm really liking it. Compared to the original though, I still think the original's better. It's dirtier, skankier, a bit more earthy. Especially, I don't know if it's been reformulated at all, but that old one, I get a lot of comments from people saying like, "Oh, that's dirty. Like, what are you wearing? That's really earthy." And I'm just like, yeah, isn't it though? Because I love all that. But yeah, no. So I'd say off the top, it's fruitier. The Vetiver's definitely there up front for, like, obviously, I mean, our Intense Vetiver you would expect it to be, but it's not a sharp, spiky Vetiver. It doesn't feel like, you get those kind of niche Vetivers, and the Vetivers are often feel a little bit kind of I won't say spiky, but they're more like they're very fizzy and right at the top there, and the herbs and the depth and the thickness just sort of kind of grabs you. It's not so in this. The Vetiver's much more laid back and almost creamy and smooth, but it's definitely like a forefront note. There's something really creamy in this actually now coming. That's an interesting smell. I didn't quite catch, but just a touch there. It smells almost like a tonka. But anyway, I'll wear that. So overall first impressions, really like it. The orange is juicier, bit less kind of dirty. It's much less dirty. And then the Vetiver is a bit more rounded, I guess. There's no kind of edge to it. And then, yeah, creeping up underneath that, smell something a little bit sweet, a little bit creamy, a little bit milky kind of underneath that. So yeah, I'll wear it for the day, and I'll come back and I'll give like a kind of overview of how it developed, because I say I definitely know as well, the original, it develops quite a lot over the day, so I'll come back and give you my thoughts on it. Welcome back. So I've been wearing Terre hermes now for going on 12 hours actually, so yeah, nearly almost 12 hours. So what do I think? I kept sniffing throughout the day. I was quite into it. So I think That's the original. The big differences, let's go through them first. So the big differences, firstly, I think the Intense Vetiver, it's warmer, rounder, softer, it's more welcoming, it's a bit more kind of youthful, and feels a little bit more modern. I didn't actually realise it was made by Christine Nagel, who's the I didn't realise it was that modern. I thought it was still Jean-Claude Eleanor who made the original, but it's not. It's Christine Nagel since she took over. Because it only came out last year, I worked out. I've actually got the note listing, so let's get that up. So before I couldn't work out the note listings, right? So it's bergamot and grapefruit on the top, apparently. There's definitely the orange is still there though, I mean, you can't deny it. And then there's a geranium and a citron pepper, and vetiver, olibanum and patchouli, and there's something else that I'm not sure, what is that? Oh, yeah, amberwood, yeah. So the differences are minimal, but there is some extra stuff in there. For example, the geranium isn't in the original Terre. The patchouli that this is saying, I don't think it's there, but I do think it's in the original. Or if it is in here, no, I do think it's in here, but it's minimal. It's not quite as pronounced as in the first Terre. But otherwise, that's not that dissimilar. As far as the note listing on paper goes, but how they actually smell is a different question. I think I say Terre Intense Vetiver. It's bigger, rounder, bit softer. I think that opening that I said before, when I said it's juicier and it feels kind of fresher, I do think that comes from the grapefruit and the bergamot, supposedly on the top. It gives it a kind of more fresh, fruity kick. Definitely makes it feel a bit more youthful, a bit younger, bit kind of. I think you could, it's a bit kind of. Well, I think I said perky, which it's a bit more kind of fresh, a bit more summery, a bit perkier. But it doesn't last very long at all. In fact, I would say after about an hour, it's just completely gone, and you're just left with kind of this very peppery. Which the citron pepper is, I feel, more pronounced in Intense Vetiver, but then also that's because vetiver itself can be quite peppery, so it's probably enhanced by that. And you're kind of left with this. The geranium comes out a little bit, which is sweet, and I found like the olibanum come out quite a bit, which I think again is when I said there's something creamy and smooth and a little bit sweet under here. I think that might have been the olibanum and the amberwood and the geranium kind of all at once being that kind of sweet resinous kind of vibe that sits underneath it, and that's kind of what it does. It just kind of sits underneath and props it all up with a very soft round sweetness, and I think it thickens it up. I think the amberwood is going a long way to kind of thicken it up. After about an hour, the citruses kind of come off and it loses the orange almost entirely, and you get a very dry, peppery vetiver that's very soft and warm and a little bit silky. It's quite comfy, and it's nice. I like it, but I suppose the big question is it as good as the original? For me personally, I'm gonna have to say no. I feel like the original is leagues better, but they are different, and I do think they warrant like Intense Vetiver. I think it does warrant a release. I do think it's not a redundant flanker at all, but for me personally, it lacks the class of the original, but at the same time it feels warmer and a little bit more kind of youthful and fun and things like that, and a bit more kind of almost like open arms, whereas the original is very kind of, I feel, quite refined, classy and quite standoffish almost, which I love. I love all of those facets. But the big difference between them all is, between the two, is the rotten orange and the earthiness and the mineralness and the mineralness. but you know, that kind of earthy mineral note that is in the original. That for me is what makes the original. That kind of dirty earthiness and that kind of the very dusty mineralness. Mineralness. I just said it again. I don't even know if it's a word. But anyway, that makes the original for me, and it's almost it's not in the Intense Vetiver. What Intense Vetiver is a very nice vetiver fragrance, very dry, woody vetiver that's soft, quite silky, quite appealing. I don't think it's harsh in any way, but I just don't think I think it lacks the interest of the original. Whereas the original, as it dried down, I just would love it more and more and more. The musty kind of patchouli would come up out of that dirty earthiness. You always had that dirty earthy orange that run almost throughout the life of the fragrance, you know, and it just got smoother and smoother and more classy and refined as it went, and it was just magical. And you know, like I say, like I get a bit tired of it these days because I've worn it for so long, but I still, the love of it's still there. And you get all that with the original, but this one I feel like it's a bit more basic and a bit more, doesn't have that kind of just the fantastic punch of all those interesting kind of dirty earthy facets of the original, but it's nice, and I do think it warrants a release. So would I buy it? That's another question. So this is like a two-part question really, and I'm going to say yes, I would buy it actually, despite saying all that stuff, but I'm going to put a kind of asterisk on that and say I would buy it, and I think I probably am going to buy it, but purely because I don't want to cane this at work anymore, because I tend to wear this a lot at work sometimes, you know, a fair bit, but this is like almost sort of half empty now, more than half empty, and it's I don't know if it's been reformulated, but I love this, and I've heard rumours that it has been reformulated, and some people say it doesn't smell any different. Other people say that it lacks some of that kind of flinty mineralness now, and I'm afraid of that. So I try and kind of dial back on my usage of this, and I don't want to wear it very much, and I certainly don't want to be wearing it at work. So the asterisk, I suppose, for me is I would buy this one, the Intense Vetiver, and wear it for work instead of this one, and then I can sort of still get my fun out of this one when I want to wear it here and there, which is not that much anymore, but I always know that I'm probably not going to get through that. I'm not going to have to worry about reformulations. So that's probably why I would buy it. Would I buy it if I was just a normal person who didn't have that one, and I had to choose between one or the other? No, probably not. I would buy this one. I would buy the original Terre hermes, unless you were looking for something that was in particular vetiver but summery and fun, and then I would say possibly, yeah, why not? But I would also then question, why would you want this one? Because there are other good vetivers for the summer out there, but this is a good one. It's definitely good. So I do think it was nice. I really enjoyed wearing it. I'm glad again that I did my magic box, because I got to smell it, and I forgot I even had it. So that was great. But for me personally, it fell very short of the original. And yeah, it was a nice wear. Enjoyed wearing it. Nice, round, soft, dry, spicy vetiver. Really enjoyed it. Wish if it could have anything, if it had that kind of, even if it had the orange and the grapefruit from the top, I would enjoy it a lot more. But they're gone, and if it had that kind of mineralness and the kind of the earthiness and the rotten orange from this one, I would. And if it was almost like its name, like just the original Terre hermes, but with a shitload more vetiver, I'd probably like it more. but they've changed it more than that, and I think the direction they've changed it's really great. I think it's modern, I think it's useful, I think it's really good. I think it separates them a little bit more as well, which I think is great, so they're not entirely redundant, but it's not as good in my opinion. It loses what it makes up for in a bit of kind of cheekiness and fun. I think it loses in its kind of refined and class, and I think that's why you want Terre hermes. Thanks for watching. Look forward to the next magic box. I also wanted to say, just like really, this is kind of a bit weird and a bit gushy maybe, but I just wanted to say really like thanks for everyone who's watched the channel and commented, because like I'm not really like a member of like Fragcom or anything like that. I'm just like this random guy who's come in and just started making videos, and everyone's been really nice and really like welcoming, and that's been really cool. So this guy who talks too much about fragrances, but everyone's been really friendly and really welcoming, and that's been really cool. And also I've got like a handful of decants that I still need to review for the channel that I got at Christmas, or you know, around about sort of Christmas in January that I bought. So I've got Isimiaki Ombre Nui, I've got Amegdalino Zegna, it's Javanese patchouli, and I've got Christian Dior Privé line Au Noir. I want to review all three of them. If you've got any preferences to which one you want to see first, wang it in the comments and let me know, because I've worn them all now. For Au Noir is the newest one, so I haven't worn that too much, but I've worn them all enough to sort of feel like I can do a review on them. So yeah, I just need to sort of figure out which one I'm going to do first. So if anyone's got any preference on that, probably going to do them later on. So yeah, chuck it in the comments, let me know which one you'd like. Yeah, but otherwise, thanks for watching. You're all really great and been really nice to me, and that's really cool. So yeah, thanks. They're my thoughts on Terre hermes Intense Vetiver. Kind of turned into a bit of a versus video, but why not? Cheers, thanks.